First of all, American music reflects the country. It reflects all the different people that have all come together to make America what it is. There's music from different parts of the South and the West and the East. All these different genres and styles and experiences have blended together to make American music what it is.
The story of America is reflected in all that music, from the 1800s and 1900s. And again, if you look at today with hip hop and everything else, again, it still influences how we all think, talk, dress, dance, et cetera, et cetera.
There have been so many times in American history where songs, music, they were the go-to for a grieving country. They offered solace to people who were devastated by the Great Depression, by horrific wartime experiences, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, of course 9/11 in our recent history, when music really brought people together to mourn the losses.
There's, I think, our main anthems, Star Spangled Banner, which everybody learns, and it's performed at football games and assemblies. There's also God Bless America, which seems to gravitate more towards conservative Americans. And then there's Woody Guthrie's This Land Is Your Land, which is a populist ballad about, kind of a counterstatement to God Bless America.
Music has, I think, in many instances, motivated cultural and political changes in this country. You go back to the 1950s when segregation was the way of life, horribly. And here comes rhythm and blues and country and western, and they had a baby, as we say, and gave birth to rock and roll. And suddenly audiences started mingling together. People of color with these white teenagers were the ones that made rock and roll become this huge national sensation.
Music has acted as a catalyst for change throughout our history. But I think that one of the greatest and possibly best known periods was in the 60s, because you had a convergence of the civil rights movement and the opposition to the Vietnam War that were so culturally defining in that period, and they each generated music that embodied not so much pure protest music, although there was plenty of that, but that embodied those issues and the struggles that were taking place at the time.
Yes, music has definitely been a true catalyst for change. And when you think about some of the pivotal moments in our history, like the civil rights movement, it was immersed in music, immersed in sounds. I mean, some of the groups or people that I think of are like Mavis Staples, strong, loud voice, the Staple Singers, or a Mahalia Jackson, or just these loud spiritual voices that have really, Bob Dylan, I mean, the list honestly goes on and on. Max Roach, not only voices, but sounds that have really propelled as a force for change in this country.
America has so many different communities. Every one of those communities has their own music. So American music is incredibly diverse. I live in New York City, and just walking down the street, you hear different languages and you hear different songs coming out of different stores, different, people playing different kinds of music, in the parks. It's just alive. I mean, it's nobody's sitting there thinking, I'm going to reflect the diversity of America. They just perform it. They do it. It's organic. It's their life. Music has that kind of place in people's experience where it gives them an identity. It tells them who they are, and it expresses that very beautifully and very powerfully, whether you're Black or Puerto Rican or white, or you're an American Indian, or whatever community you might belong to, you have a music that tells your story.
So there's ways in which music is as American as the American flag, you know, and you identify within that kind of. You don't have to hear more than 3 bars, and you know where you are, and you are identifying with it emotionally. Now, people are going to have different emotional reactions to those kinds of national emblems, but that's okay. Music allows you to understand and to celebrate the America you want to celebrate. And people have all sorts of reasons for doing it, but they get it, and they all have that thing in common. So it's diversity in commonality. It's diversity, it's e pluribus unum, actually. It's out of many one, and that's what the music can do.
Our music is inextricable from our American identity. You know, there are plenty of songs, you know, you might even love those songs, even if you don't agree with the ideas that are expressed in them, because that's what America is. You know, it's a big, boisterous, loud country with lots of voices, lots of people making music, and all of us trying to express ourselves and discover who our neighbors are. Also, at its best, you know, if you explore the music of a particular culture, you know, you will learn a great deal about it. And that's certainly true of America, and it's true of all aspects of America. So, you know, the American identity is, you know, a big, sprawling concept, and there's music for every single aspect of it.